Hi! Today I am going to be reading some poetry about love, a lot of romantic love, but I think love in general, to be honest. I'm going to be reading from a couple of different collections, mostly in chronological order of publication, mostly modern, but or contemporary, but it's pretty flexible. And the first poet I'm going to be reading from is this ancient Roman guy called Catullus, and this is from a poetry collection called I Hate and I Love that I bought in Paris, translated by Peter Wiggin. And they don't have titles, they just have numbers. So I'm gonna read poem number 5 to start. Lesbia, live with me and love me, so we'll laugh at all the sour-faced strictures of the wise. This sun, once set, will rise again when our sunsets follows night and an endless sleep. Kiss me now 1,000 times, and now 100 more, and then 100 and 1,000 more again, till with so many 100,000 kisses you and I shall both lose count, nor any can from envy of so much of kissing put his finger on the number of sweet kisses you of me and I of you, darling, have had. And on the same vein, I'm going to read poem number 7. Curious to learn how many kisses of your lips might satisfy my lust for you, Lesbia. Know as many as are grains of sand between the oracle of sweltering Jove at Ammon and the tomb of old Bacchides I in Libya, where the silphium glows. Alternatively, as many as the sky has stars at night shining in quiet upon the furtive loves of mortal men. As many kisses of your lips as these might slake your own obsessed Catullus, dear. So many that no prying eye can keep the count, nor spiteful tongue fix their total in a fatal formula. Original yearner. Actually, no. I would credit Sappho for that. I wish I had her work with me, but I don't. But good stuff. This cost me €1.40 at Gilbert Joseph in Paris. So, very happy with it. The second poetry collection that I'm going to be reading from is, it's not really a collection, it's just selected poems from Pessoa, translated by Richard Zenith, which is a really cool name, both Pessoa and Zenith, but I'm going to read a short poem called Before I Had You, which he wrote in 1914, from The Shepherd in Love. Before I had you, I loved nature as a calm monk loves Christ. Now I love nature as a calm monk loves the Virgin Mary, religiously, in my manner, like before, but in a more heartfelt and intimate way. I see the rivers better when I walk with you through the fields to the river's banks. When I sit next to you and watch the clouds, I see them much more clearly. You haven't taken nature from me. You haven't changed nature. You've brought nature closer. Because you exist, I see it better, though the same as before. Because you love me, I love it in the same way, but more because you choose me to have you and love you. My eyes gaze at it more than at anything. I don't regret what I was before, for I'm still what I was. I only regret not having loved you before. And I'm going to read a second piece that he wrote 16 years later in 1930 called "The Shepherd in Love Lost His Staff." The shepherd in love lost his staff, and the sheep scattered over the slope. And so lost was he in thought that he didn't even play his flute. No one came or went. He never found his staff. Other men, cursing him, rounded up the sheep. He had not, after all, been loved. When he stood up from the slope and the false truth, he saw everything. The white valleys full of the same shades of green as always, the tall mountains in the distance more real than any feeling, all of reality with the sky and air and fields that exist, and he felt the air reopen with pain of freedom in his chest. These, they be yearning, and like, I don't know, I think both connect love to like truth and nature in a way that I find very endearing, and I find that we need to be doing that more in like the modern age, even though nature and truth are going to look different, but I don't know, it's like that Sally Rooney quote in not this book but another one where she's like, oh, we're doing all these like stupid things because we're so foolish about each other at the end of the day. I'm misquoting it, but like they got it. I also would love to be a shepherd. I think it'd be really fun. I don't know how good I would be at it. I did work on a farm, but like, anyways, switching the vibe, I'm going to be reading from The Orange by Wendy Cope. All of the poetry that I'm reading today is like pretty like corny and simple. It's not like my typical thing, but I like it a lot. I'm obviously going to read titular poem The Orange, which I low-key know by heart, and like if I'm really, feeling it at a party, can be asked to recite. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to read it because, yeah. At lunchtime, I bought a huge orange. The size of it made us all laugh. I peeled it and shared it with Robert and Dave. They got quarters and I had a half. And that orange, it made me so happy, as ordinary things often do. Just lately, the shopping, a walk in the park, this is peace and contentment. It's new. The rest of the day was quite easy. I did all the jobs on my list and enjoyed them and had some time over. I love you. I'm glad I exist. Which is like, again, I think we so often view love as like you giving away something about yourself, a certain part of yourself, or like some of the love that you could be giving to other things you're giving to a romantic love, as is, typically explored through, poems about love. But I think true love that feels right is like exponential, in the sense that like you loving that person makes you love everything else so much more, and makes you like this like open vessel of care. And I do understand that like a lot of critique of like, especially like in feminist discourse, of our obsession with love is fair, and I do think it's like we've really mostly conceived of love as like too often existing within like a heterosexual, exclusive, you know, very patriarchal type of relationship. I hope you're hearing the music because I think it adds to what I'm saying. But I think what we can be taught by a lot of this writing, but also a lot of more unconventional forms of love, and queer love is like this exponential, open character, which is what I want to cultivate. Anyways, I'm gonna read another poem as the music plays called Valentine, which is fitting because this is Valentine's Day. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. My heart has made its mind up, and I'm afraid it's you. Whatever you've got lined up, my heart has made its mind up, and if you can't be signed up this year, next year will do. My heart has made its mind up, and I'm afraid it's you. And Wendy Hope, you know, sweetheart, was also a school teacher, which I think makes so much sense because her poetry is has a very childlike essence and a simplicity, which I think like I am not often drawn to, but is good to have. I will be back with you once this music ends. Okay, I'm back. And the music is not back. It's great, but you know, very distracting. Penultimate collection that I will be reading from is The Latest Winter by Maggie Nelson. Maggie Nelson is a very, very, very funny woman. And I think she's written, I'm trying to find it, but she's written a really good kind of gay poem. But I'm gonna start with a poem called Juliet, which I think is very funny and very college, and a good departure from what I've been reading so far. I'm lying on the bed, which is really just a mattress on the floor that smells like incense and like Berkeley. Glass sliding doors lead out to a stone patio and a kidney bean-shaped pool that glistens in the early evening light. He is standing to light a candle and find a condom. He is short and white and Irish with freckled shoulders and long hair down his back like a red wheat. What he doesn't know is that I'm on a mission and he's the one I've chosen this time. I'm quite ready after spending the afternoon lying around like cats in the sun, his breath hot behind me. Do you like it like this? I like it like this. You see, he was teaching me. We had the same size bodies, but I was sharper around the edges due to my critical eye. It was crucial that he had both a verbal and visual imagination, his skin so blotchy red, color rising in his cheeks in patches, his eyes an astonishing blue, and always red-rimmed because he was such a stoner. I lay on my back, amazed and perplexed, especially by his urging, you've got to find the rhythm. I don't know if it felt good. It felt like young animals, thick and red and gold and darkness. Afterwards, we went swimming and then sat in the hot tub where he said he was hard again. And I was sore and steaming, and we did it again, and then again. Later, I would let him videotape me masturbating, but I would do it only under the covers, so all you could see on tape was a moving mass of white comforter. In another part of the tape, I am sitting naked. looking shy and giggling uncomfortably as he sprays water on me from a spray bottle, probably just trying to get me to move around, but I couldn't move. I was too excited and too sad and too anxious to see what would happen next, which was that his father drove me to the BART station, winking the whole time, saying, "Now I know to leave my boy alone when I see your bug parked outside." A few days later, I have to go visit my sister at a reform school in Idaho and end up spending Christmas in a teeny rural hospital with what I suspected was a punishment from God, so much red blood in my urine and pain in my abdomen, but it turned out to be what my mom later called the honeymoon disease. And while I was gone, he fooled around with my best friend, and thus I was betrayed by the boy who never loved me the way I wanted to be. Still, it was my mission, my wetness, and my sadness, my 15th year drunk on the drug of love. And, I think you could argue all of these people are also drunk on the drug of love, whatever that is. But I don't know, I think it's like, I love this banality and the, I don't know, I'm trying to find the words, but I think we need to, we're not living in we're not living in the Roman times, and we're not living in the early 20th century, and I think we're trying to reconcile with a lot of banality and loss of magic and profoundly unaesthetic character of so many things. But I think Maggie Nelson does a good job. I'm gonna read another poem. Bit longer, called Words to a Woman. This woman, oh, I have seen her. I was worried I was her, and I was her. I was her, and then I was her hair. I was her mouth, and her birdie nipples. Nipples coming right at you. Wagons, kebabs, sugar dips, cannons. I was worried I was her, and she was not well. She was down or going down in the bar over a tender burger. That's when it struck me most. It was as though she had become wallpaper, or the meat, or the dank wood paneling. I got jealous. She loved another woman that I made. Another woman cry, talking about how I love men. Somewhere I must have known how it would make her feel. How do you love men and women if you want to love people one at a time or one for a very long time? Where does the other love go? Where's love's home? Do you love what loves you? Do you still love me? I love you. You are androgynous and omnipotent, horse. Your words blind me, I argue, for the disorient, then flail and the ghost of the wake. You are talking to me, to my machine at 8:03, severely premenstrual. I don't pick up the phone because I'm trying to talk to you in another way. You always need something: cigarettes, water, lemons, booze, green things. Mostly you needed me, but I couldn't help you. You were wallpaper, your hands were balled up and blue. I don't love you anymore. That's what he shouted at you. Your big blue numbskull picking roots, writing the deluge. Something is always wrong with you. keeping the kitchen neat, that goes there, and that goes there, and okay, that goes there, smoking, staring, fancying yourself a butcher, picking out the bones, picking out the bones, out the bones. Mama said picking out the bones. Mama say find the small ones, the chokers, make that slab of fish smooth and pink, one long pulsing incandescent piece of flesh, boneless, loveless, beautiful fish, cold fucking fish. We say we have a romantic friendship, but all that means is I don't understand anything I feel. For years I thought when we touched it would be perfect, but I had to make you stop. You were so much rougher than I thought. Now I want to write an epic about you and him, an epic of tennis courts and split blood and fish, big fish eyes crying all day, all night, rolling over each other, one skinny, one fat, in the White House like a globe of glass, in the suspended globule of bed, suspended music of blue, the door always closed, you and he always in bed, except when you sleepwalked into my lover's bed and he didn't know the difference. The epic at hand seems not to know itself. Who are you? I ask of it. I am the true blue. I am the answer. I am the jealous link in the chain. You were woman. You were woman. It's not fair to make you woman, not woman. Like, I like women, skinny and fat women. I wanted breasts to smother me, breasts that smelled like the inside of body, breasts that leak body, not skinny calves or bony arms, though I love those too. You lost the weight. It dropped from you. To watch a body losing itself, to watch it obliterate itself. It isn't you. It doesn't even look like you. You had lovers when you were fat. I remember in the big house you were like a queen, a boy scaled the building for you, crept over the overhangs. It was gothic. It was a dream. It was all a dream. The plastic fruit, the revolving spice rack, the summer, the nakedness and the waterfall, the Polaroids, the one-eyed fish. I'm harshest on the ones I love most. Just like my mama, just like her mama, who picked when they wanted to teach joy. I want to give you joy. I want joy, joy, untarnished joy. You knew no boundaries. You swelled up into that house. You are the girl that can't come out. Pick up your head, get out of the house. Nothing else can come out the way you wear that house. You wear that house as if it was your blouse. Take a step and pop goes the house. You who are so vastly desirable. I can never understand why the whole world wasn't in love with you. You bleed out onto everything, the knitting edges, knitting with other edges, the paper unfolding, an endless sliver slice of origami ink, blurring the edges of letters and lips, sores running together on your breast, sores making a river. I don't love you anymore. That's what he shouted at you. Love for you, lost. Love for women, lost. Left to dream about these silver parts, boneless, loveless, beautiful fish, cold fucking fish. In the bar, you cry to me, how could I have chosen the rejection of a man over the love of a woman? Good God, I want to scream. We're speaking a script. Just push the matter through, change it from the inside out, pull the man out, see the world with eyes re-shuttered. Then float me in a grove, a shady grove, where no lone shoe suggests a sad story. There we'll find what's left of love, and that part of its job is to separate us. This is not your story. These are just words I am giving to you. I want to give you back you. Tell my mama joy, tell my mama joy, tell my sisters and tell my mama joy. Words to a woman, joy. Thank you, Maggie Nelson. That was great, and none of that was relatable. It was all one big intellectual exercise. I'm going to read from a last poet who like literally shaped so much of my adolescence, Savannah Brown, contemporary, very like online girl poet. She's great. I'm gonna read a poem called Sex Poem. And also this poetry collection opens with one of my favorite quotes ever in the whole entire world, which is, if I can find it, from Marcelo Hernandez Castillo, which is, because the bird flew before there was a word for flight, years from now there will be a name for what you and I are doing. And I think that all of this, is exploring that. Sex poem. Just to think of her holding me down, tugs up the telephone wire, stitched with every species of flying bird by a synchronous exhilaration of wings. There will be no more calls today, no more electric crumbs pinging pointlessly from place to place. I'm talking about something bigger. A fevered displacement of air, a star unseamed to tease out a parade of smaller stars, all the soil in one motion turned wet side. I'm gonna read a last poem called Recorded Talismans of Intimacy, which I think, again, in its exploration of place and things and like temporalities, is a common thread through all of this. Like when that Roman bitch was like, we need to kiss until we lose track of how many kisses, and then this is like, no, we need to like keep track of all these like moments of intimacy or whatever, and it's like, you guys are saying the same thing at different ends. Anyways, 1 million hairs left on the carpet in the event you need to clone me. Contacts left to wilt on the bathroom counter, cerulean half-globes, shed skin. Tits in alleyway at rose-colored dusk. A missed call that dangles from a thread in space like a baby tooth. Stalagmites of nightshell crushed to waterline. Thong discarded cloudy side. The desire to hear about your day, relentless as a fetish. Ornaments of razor burn, a word mispronounced and swiftly mocked. Funnel of breath on a bleached scalp. Scrambled eggs for you again. A decade-old robe round daybreak body, iced and sexed. Where the childhood home's head had been, there is a blossoming in this infinite Venn diagram. I'll meet you in the middle, the part of the statue everyone touches for luck, a little orb made of our liquefied fates, a stargate lodged in the rib. My baby, my baby, I will know you well enough to find you in the place where none of this is. And that's that. I'm not gonna share my thoughts about love because I've done it already, and I have no thoughts about love because I've never overthought anything. Bye now.